Cool. Awesome. Okay, so the temperature here is very nice. It's like 80 degrees or 85, I think. Very humid though.
What's that in? Let me check. Hold on. 85, 80? He said 80 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I
80
think so.
Fahrenheit. 80 Fahrenheit is 26.6. Holy shit. Oh, sorry. It's 26. Yeah, that's good. That'll do. Florida weather. 26.6. That's a dream for us right now. No, daytime weather for us right now is like, what's daytime weather? What's tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow's 17, 18, wow. Yeah, 19, 21. We're done pretty much with summer right now. Yeah.
What part of Canada are you in?
Toronto.
Oh, Toronto.
Ontario, yeah.
Hey,
the most expensive, craziest city right now on the planet, probably. Dying to get out of here.
I've actually been to Ontario. I think I drove through New York State, and there was a big Ever hear the Thousand Island Bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was scared. I was so scared driving on that bridge.
Yeah.
That thing is steep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got nice places, but it's too expensive. It's way too expensive to live up here anymore. It's just nuts. It's gone bad up here.
I visit my in-law in London, Ontario. Yeah. Very nice, like suburban, chill.
Yeah, London booming big time right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah, cool. Taking off like a rocket. Yeah. Because all the cities outside of Toronto right now, because of we have like it's just too expensive in Toronto to live. Right, everybody's moving out. Like, so everything is really moving, going to London, Hamilton, which is like out the outskirts, right, the suburbs. So it's bad, but yeah, you can't make cash flow in here more. There's no cash flow up here anymore. There's nothing. You can't. Like a normal deposit up here, you're looking 500,000, 600,000 for a deposit for a house. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, we have two New York people here, Chloe and Willie.
Oh yeah.
Willie, did you prepare anything for us?
I don't have any slides. I'm just gonna give it to you guys, basically.
Sure.
No slides. It'll be a little intimate Zoom, and everyone online can listen on.
What part of New York?
Say it again.
What part of New York you in?
I'm actually in New Jersey right now. I'm originally from Staten Island, New York.
He's a Jersey boy.
Yeah, so I'm in Jersey now. I've been in Jersey for the past 4 years now.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny because when I was living in New York and I started this real estate journey, I was like, well, New Jersey is so big compared to Staten Island, the small little island that I was from. And I was like, I'll never be able to compete or figure out this big state on how to really do anything in real estate besides wholesaling. And I was confined to this one island and I figured it out. I closed the deal, and then I thought I would never leave, but there's just so much out there, and you have to leave your hometown to really just scale,
Yeah.
And
I should give you my buddy Carm. He buys a lot of real estate out that way. He's in Jersey. I didn't know you were in Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. I live in Jersey, and I mean, I do my business, and I'm in 9 states. We're doing this nationwide. It's been
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's officially start. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Put myself on mute.
Okay, so I will invite everyone on mute, and then just let William, unless you have any question. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Sophie Nguyen. I'm the host of the Monday Real Estate Talk Series, and real estate, one of the most lucrative and complex industry in the world. And I've been lucky to be a full-time real estate investor for the past few years, 4 years actually. And I have the privilege to know many experts in different niches, like Willie here. I knew him through the real estate meetup in New York. At the time, I think maybe you started 2 years, like a few years ahead, and you were doing wholesaling and you presenting your deals as well. And that's how we connect. And I gave you some lead. And what impressed me is the amount of work that you put into just one lead. that I gave you. And, you go there, had a drink with her, you talk to them, like teach them everything, how to sell their house and all of that. But you can find out more about this series on my Facebook, my website, sophie.so, and, tune into this webinar about all of these niches in real estate. So, Willie, a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background, and let the audience get to know you.
Sure. Thank you, Sophie, so much. So yeah, like Sophie said, we connected a couple of years ago at one of, I think it was Nick Tang's events, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So prior to me getting into real estate, I won't bore everyone with, background. I'll kind of like just get to the nitty gritties. But I was a bus operator in the state of New York for about 8 years, 6-figure job, pension, benefits. And, I just was working every day, 9 to 5. And it was just something that it was good to pay the bills, but I figured I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to become a homeowner because I always rented my whole life. So a realtor was actually showing me properties one day. This is when I had no idea about real estate. I just knew I wanted to own versus rent. So she was showing me properties, and we actually stumbled upon a property that was actually a short sale. And I didn't know what a short sale was. The real estate agent that was showing me the property didn't know what a short sale was either. She was kind of like playing it off like she did, but she really had no idea. So after that, I realized to own a home, it was going to really, it was going to require me to work overtime, 80, 90 hours a week just to pay a mortgage. So I was like, well, there's got to be a better way. So I started diving into investing, real estate, money, where does money come from? How do you use it? And then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everyone read that book. Great book.
Yep.
And then I started from there going to networking events. And really, it's true what they say, your network is your net worth, because you need to connect with people. You need to ask questions. You need to just be in those rooms. So I started going to these networking events, really just figured out, what wholesaling was, learned about it, fell into a paralysis type of deal, just learning and not really taking any action. And then went out there, put a property under contract, put it under the wrong price. And I thought it was a deal. I was really excited to get that deal under contract finally, but the price didn't make sense. The numbers didn't make sense, completely failed on that deal, but I kept doing it, right? Going out there, talking to homeowners. And then I stumbled upon a home that was in foreclosure, and there was an auction scheduled. And really, it took about 6-7 months to figure out how to really take a property that's underwater and actually turn it upside, make it positive equity, if you will, and make a little bit of a fee while doing it. So we helped this homeowner out, avoid foreclosure, and we made about $40,000 on a wholesale fee. Okay, without even
that's awesome.
Without even knowing on, what I was doing, right? So that's kind of like how I got started in real estate. Fast forward, 6 years later, we're in 9 states. The goal this year is to do 5 million in wholesale fees, where I don't know if that's a realistic goal. We're close to $1 million now, but we're trying to scale. So,
Awesome. So what happened with that first property when you have all the calculation wrong?
Yeah, so we really just, the seller had an auction coming up, and we really didn't understand how to cancel the auction, because the key when you have a foreclosure property and there's an auction coming up, you have to buy time. It's all about buying time. So we went to the courthouse, connected with attorneys, and, we had no money at the time. So we just really kind of talked our way into figuring out certain strategies on how to get the auction canceled. And, this was in New York. And what we did was we submitted a contract to the attorney after just constant phone calls. And I mean, you're on the phone for hours, and a lot of people would get discouraged, but we were just persistent, right?
Mhm.
So, we submitted a contract, And we basically just presented to the foreclosing attorney that this offer would satisfy the debt and it would actually make a lot more sense than them just foreclosing on the property and making less. So if you can package all that up and get it in front of the right person who's in control, you can actually get the auction canceled. This was in New York. So different strategies in different states, but that's kind of like how we did it and stopped the auction. We found a buyer. It was a traditional retail buyer who wanted to live in the property. So that's kind of how we kind of made a bigger fee wholesale. But yeah, that's pretty much how the first deal kind of went. And then I just fell in love with foreclosures and connecting with distressed sellers, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
So, Willie, in your definition, what is wholesaling?
My definition of wholesaling is finding a property out there. So just to be clear, we're not traditionally wholesaling. So my wholesale deals, and we don't even use the term wholesaling. When we're wholesaling short sales, we're not wholesaling. Basically, it's akin to an assignment, but we have special paperwork that allows us legally to wholesale a short sale. And it's basically framed as it's a termination and release agreement. So we have a special, everyone in wholesaling would know of as an assignment contract. We have a termination and release agreement where we're legally disclosing what we're doing to the banks. And we're allowed to actually wholesale these properties once we get them approved on a short sale. So just to be clear, so we're a little different than your traditional wholesale company.
Wow, that's amazing. Like that is like, not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, because wholesaling, short sales there's a lot of gray in there. A lot of people do it illegally. The key word in these approval letters, when you get a short sale approved, the bank what's an approval letter, right? It's the bank agreeing to release this property for X price, even though the principal and fees were this price, right? They're taking a big haircut on this property and they're agreeing to you to release that for that much. So if the mortgage was 300,000 and we got it approved for 100,000, the bank is giving us an approval letter for 100,000. They're taking a $200,000 haircut. And then where they know that we're approved for 100, we're selling it to the net. We're releasing our rights to that contract to another buyer for 120 or 150, right? And we're disclosing that multiple times to them. Where other people will get a short sale approved, they'll put it in an LLC, they'll sell and flip the LLC, they'll put it in a land trust, where that's all good, but you're not disclosing what you're doing to the bank. And the key word is disclosure. So it's very important when you're wholesaling short sales.
So the bank knows that what you're doing, like you should try to get rid of it for them because they want those off their book, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're literally saving them. These banks don't want to foreclose on these properties. We're providing a solution for the homeowner. They're avoiding foreclosure. The bank doesn't have to foreclose on this property and take ownership of this property, maintain it, pay the taxes, deal with the town. They don't want to do any of that. So we're providing solutions for all parties involved, and we're creating opportunities for a lot of people involved in the transaction.
So iPhone, who is this iPhone? So he asking, so we have to call the note holder? Do we have to call the note holder? For sure, right?
No, so when we're dealing with, when I say bank, so there's the owner of the note, the mortgage note, right? That could be an institution, that could be an individual, an LLC. We don't really know who it is. So we're dealing directly with the servicing company who's servicing the mortgage note for the owner. So we're negotiating with them. They're kind of like the middleman between us. We negotiate, we talk to them, they relay the information to the investor of the note. So we're not talking to the note investors. at all. But there's been many deals where it's been a conversation where we actually do need to speak directly to them. But and there's another game to that as well. But yeah, we're dealing with the servicing company.
So Willie, like I see that there's a lot of paperwork involved here, and there's a lot of legal stuff and regulation that you need to know about all this. Like, like when I started out, I don't know what a note even means, right?
Right.
It's like, I don't know, there's a servicing company, I don't know the party involved. How did you educate yourself about all of this? And how did you, who influenced you?
Yeah. So, I mean, my mentor, Nick Tang, we both know him. I believe the way he got started was through short sales as well. So, it was,
Okay.
yeah, Nick started, his first deal was a short sale. And
Okay,
he
cool.
was involved in the short sale negotiating space right out of the gate. So Nick definitely mentored me. Nick's been great over the past 6-7 years now. We've been really good friends. I mean, we have a great friendship now, but he really educated me significantly. Every time I had a problem, because you have to call the bank, right? The bank actually, the servicing company can actually teach you how to do this as well. So you're basically calling the bank and you're just asking them, if you don't know, right, in the beginning, they're going to tell you what they need. And you basically got to provide that to them, documentation wise.
So it's like you learn in the action, right?
Exactly. You learn, you do, you fail, you don't understand, you deal with objections, you don't accept no for an answer. That's really the key. A lot of these deals, you'll get a no, but why? There's a reason why they're telling you no. It's most likely because you didn't provide a certain document or you didn't do something. It's just like when you're speaking with a seller, when you're trying to negotiate the price, or they don't really know you, they don't like you, they don't know you, right? So they're telling you no, that's their objection. But it's your job as the professional to really get through the no and bring out the yes.
Totally. That's another art, right? That's totally an art. Like, and I feel like you're like super persistent.
You have
And
to, yeah, you have to be.
so can you tell us, like, with a lead, let's say if you have like, I don't know, like out of like 100 leads, what is usually your closing rate on them?
So I don't, it's very, last year we had about 70 to 80 files in the second quarter of the year. And we were overwhelmed with foreclosure, short sale leads, negotiating them. And I kind of like was excited to get this many deals, right? And I learned through, I wasn't ready for that many deals. I didn't have systems, processes, people to really negotiate. We're on these phones for hours at a time with these banks. Sometimes you have to hang up, call back, the call gets disconnected. So there's a lot that goes into it. So, and it's not just that, it's when you're dealing with what I'm doing is I'm dealing with distressed homeowners. A lot of these homeowners have a lot of problems, and you have to figure out a way, which we're very good at now. The follow-up is everything with homeowners because they're going through so much in their mind. They're constantly ghosting you, and you'll put months and months of work into a deal for the seller to just ghost you. And now you have an approval from a bank, but you can't close the file because the seller is ghosted you. So we learned a lot through, you have to keep the seller engaged. Some of these files will close in 60 days. I had a file that I just closed 6 months ago that took me 3 years. And we made $40,000 on it, but it took a bunch of no's. I mean, the bank was just really a stickle on their value. This property needs to be knocked down, and they wanted so much. So the point is, like, I never gave up on that deal, right? So you have to really understand that it's not just because they said no now, like you have to keep going to get it to the finish line. If you don't get it to the finish line, you're not helping and you're not providing any value to anyone. Okay. So, and you have to understand also when you're speaking to, most wholesalers, they're dealing directly with sellers. We're negotiating with banks, servicing companies, And these servicing companies, these are employees, 9 to 5 employees making $18 to $20 an hour, who don't really care if your homeowner is going to lose their house. They don't really show any empathy, nothing like that. And sometimes I have to educate them on the process, because a lot of them, especially since COVID, the banks are bombarded right now with files. They don't have enough people to really handle the amount of defaults. So they're hiring newbies, and these newbies that are coming in, they used to be a janitor. They don't know anything about loss mitigation, right? So, me as, a professional, I have to sometimes educate them on the process and help them out. So, yeah, hopefully that answered somewhat of your question that you said.
Yeah. Okay. So the answer is kind of hard to tell because there's deal that took you like 3 years to close, right?
Oh, so the question was, how many are we actually? So, I would say out of 100 deals, 60 to 70%, and like I said, because we don't really let go of a file until we close it or the property does actually get foreclosed on.
Well, that's pretty high because there's like tons of leads, and then if you working on, I mean, diligently like you are, with all the knowledge you have and all the time you put in, then you close 60 to 70%. That's pretty high. Like,
yes, like, see, now I'm very selective on what files I take on, and the way I choose the files. Like, I have my business now, and mostly the past 5 years has been referrals. I don't do any marketing. I don't do no cold calling. All my leads come from wholesalers, realtors, and investors that just don't understand. Yeah, I do no marketing. 99% of my business is referrals. So all my leads come from referrals. But now we learned, we've worked with so many banks, so many wholesalers, that I'm very selective on files that I take now, because I wasted a lot of time. Whether it's, I could tell you what bank is good to work with, what bank is a pain in the butt, what bank gives you good values on your appraisals. But it really ultimately comes down to the homeowner. A lot of these homeowners, like I said, are distressed. And, there's homeowners that actually want help. And then there's homeowners that they want the help, but they won't really, they want other things, and they just really want to play games, and they don't really want to like help themselves. So if they're not willing to help themselves, as much effort as I put in, I can't help them either. So I'll typically interview a homeowner, go over everything with them, and depending on what their goals are, I'll tell the person that brought me the lead, like, sorry, we can't really help this homeowner out because they don't really want to help themselves out.
So you actually qualify the deal and the leads, right? So you gotta take on a file, some realtor give you a file, and you're like, okay, look at the bank, and you'll be like, okay, this bank, no, I'm not gonna work with this bank. And then like you gotta talk to the homeowner, and you'll be like, okay, maybe this homeowner, I can help her or I help him, right? But if like you talk to them and you're like, nah, and then you just
Well, yeah, because I kind of understand, like, we're in New Jersey, especially in New Jersey and New York, right? The laws are different in New York and New Jersey than like Texas, right? You can get a homeowner out of the property within 30 days. You get a sheriff there, right?
Yep.
You will take years, 5, 10 years, 20 years. A homeowner can sit in their property for 20 years, not paying anything, and never be foreclosed on or kicked out of the property, even after foreclosure, right? So if I know, there's guidelines that these banks have, and if a homeowner has been in default for 10 years or even over 5 years, I know that the bank is no longer going to give that homeowner any type of option. It's either foreclosure or deed in lieu. Sometimes they won't even give a deed in lieu. And a deed in lieu, if anyone doesn't know, is basically the homeowner is giving back the deed to the homeowner, to the bank. So, but there's certain things along with that. Title has to be clear for the bank to take back the property. But if you're in default, your only option is foreclosure. So, and these homeowners have been playing the system for years, right? They filed multiple bankruptcies to cancel and delay the
Mhm.
foreclosure, and they know they're more educated than your typical investor or wholesaler. The homeowner that's been in foreclosure for more than 5 years, they probably know more about the game than you do.
Right.
So those people immediately, I check to see how long you've been in foreclosure for, and then I won't touch it because there's nothing I can do, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
waste time spinning my wheels.
Yeah. So you already like learn what is the, what is the 80-20 of your businesses, right?
Yep.
And just
Absolutely.
focus your effort on the right one. That's awesome. That's really smart.
Yeah.
And so a little bit about what is your day-to-day structure look like, schedule look like? I mean, there's people in real estate that said, oh, they should work around the hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. So this summer, actually, I kind of like, I finally got my business to a point where I don't really need to operate it. I used to call the bank, spend hours on the phone every single day. Now I have a processor, some VAs that actually do that for us. We have to follow up with these banks twice every 2 days to make sure that
Mhm.
they received the paperwork. Are they missing anything? So it's a lot of follow up. And if you don't follow up every 2 to 3 days, you'll lose the deal. You'll waste time. So, you know, before the summer started, I finally was able to get the right people in place to now do that work for me. So I have a little bit more free time, which I actually started another business this summer, which is doing pretty good, and I'm leveraging that for other things. But my day to day is really just my role now is generating. I'm basically I'm getting the business more business, right? I'm scaling it.
Mm,
I can easily go out there and connect with homeowners, not
mhm,
even homeowners anymore, just wholesale. I don't even need to really speak to homeowners initially. I could just
mhm,
talk to realtors, wholesalers, and investors. And we partner up with these companies to bring us the leads. And then I jump on the phone initially with the homeowner. So I'll
mhm,
typically, today we had a deal come in South Jersey, and this realtor brought it to me. The property is going to foreclosure in 48 hours. I jumped on the phone with the homeowner who's actually in the hospital at the moment. So he spoke to me from the hospital, and we
mhm,
basically, I educated him on what the priority is, because whenever there's a scheduled auction, nothing else matters but canceling the
mhm,
auction. That's your main priority, right?
mhm,
We don't even talk about any other options. We just let's get this auction canceled, and then we'll talk about all your options. So that's what we're
mhm,
doing. I, submitted all the paperwork to the realtor who brought me the lead. He's going to meet the homeowner in the hospital tonight or tomorrow morning, get all his signatures wet inked. He'll then
mhm,
scan the documents back to me. We'll communicate that information to the bank and the foreclosing attorneys, get the auction canceled, and then we'll go back and then we'll start. I'll go back to the homeowner, educate him a little bit more, build a relationship, build some rapport. And I'm really the one speaking to the homeowners throughout the whole process, whether it takes
mhm,
2 months or 6 months or a year. I stay in touch with my homeowners. Like you said, I get very personal with them.
yep.
And I speak to them because I'm speaking to them every week. They're telling me about their whole lives, and it's sometimes I'm on the phone with these homeowners a lot more time than I need to be, but
Mhm,
they're distressed and they like to vent, so I'll talk to them. But my day to day is really just making sure my team is doing what they need to do, and I'm talking to homeowners and wholesalers and realtors, investors on
mhm,
what situations they're in and how I can help
mhm.
them with those bad leads, those dead leads.
And so your team, the people that you hire, they follow up with the bank and the servicing company.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's
And then
awesome.
I have realtors. Each one of my files needs to be listed on the MLS. So
Mhm,
my broker, not my broker, my partner is a broker
mm,
in New Jersey. So
I
he'll list.
think I know him
Yeah,
too,
yeah, Mike.
Mike. Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Mike if you're listening. Um, but so Mike will basically he has his role. He lists the property. He
Mhm,
will talk to buyers. He'll talk to tenants. There's a lot that we're dealing with. Not just distressed homeowners. We're dealing with squatters. State of New
mhm,
Jersey, very hard to get a squatter out, right? So we have to get creative here. We have to fix people's credit. We have to find them jobs. We have to just, we go above and beyond, because if you don't do these things, people will not leave. People in New Jersey are not motivated to leave their apartment, leave their house, unless they're
Yep.
forced out, right? So you have to really be proactive and work basically with them from the beginning. So we're constantly looking for apartments, looking for creative ways on how to fix their credit and get them approved for another mortgage creatively. It's just, that's kind of like what my day looks like, and what my
You
team's day looks like.
you kind of like go very far and beyond, and to not only empathize with them, but really trying to help them. That's like something I notice about you, that like when I give you leads, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna help them.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's just my personality, and I mean, I've lost money multiple times. I've paid for clothes for homeowners. I bought food for pets. It's just whatever they need. You have to really stop the bleeding. A lot of these homeowners are bleeding. So if you really want them to be engaged throughout the whole transaction, you have to understand where they're bleeding from, and you have to stop the bleeding. And then it's a lot easier to really deal, because they're kind of in control. You could be wasting your time for months, and this homeowner just ghosts you because they're bleeding, right? They're in
Yeah.
distress. So you have to really, very importantly, understand, stop the bleeding first, and then they'll open up more and they'll be engaged throughout the whole transaction.
And let me ask you this, like, there's people that really like wholesaling, right? And there's people that like that. No, like when I talk to the stress wholesaler, I feel stressful as well. What are your take on that?
You're saying basically a wholesaler is distressed.
Yeah. So it's like when you talk to the stress seller, they have so many problems. They're gonna talk to you, and
Okay, yeah.
you
Because-
kind of feel like now as well. You kind of feel bad for them, and then you kind of feel like, oh no, like
well,
my
typical
mood is up
wholesaler-
also.
Well, you know what it is? I guess a typical wholesaler is really just, they want to negotiate the deal, and like they don't want to hear all the problems, right? They don't want to solve all the problems. They're really, a lot of wholesalers, I guess the non-successful ones. I mean, this game is about solving problems. Let's be honest, right? If you're not solving a problem, you're not providing value to people, you're typically not going to be in business for long. Maybe you get a deal here and there, but you constantly need to provide value to people, not just in real estate, just in life, right? So wholesalers, a lot of them, even realtors too, all they care about is commission and what their fee is going to be. So I guess once they hear about the distressed seller's problems, they're like, all right, let's move on to the next deal. That's where I pick up a lot of these dead leads from these wholesalers.
That's amazing. Cool. And so that is your day-to-day schedule. So what's the pain and the pleasure here when you close on these deal out? Like, did you feel amazing? And is there
Yeah,
any...
it's dopamine like you wouldn't believe, on steroids, because we're not just making big wholesale fees, right? We're making significantly big wholesale fees that I probably would have never imagined was real when I first started, but it's more than that, because you're helping someone out of a bad situation. I'll give you a great example. We had a deal. I was looking for a house back in November and last year, and we went into this house, and the lady had about 18 cats, right? I was looking for a house to purchase for myself. I wasn't even looking at a wholesale deal. I was just shopping around to purchase a home for myself, for either to live in it or rent it out. We get in the house, and immediately there's a bunch of cats, old lady, 80 years old, and the property is listed on the MLS with a realtor for the last 6 months. And this house has been trying to sell traditionally for 6 months. So I kind of have a sense to these things. I get in the house, we connect with the homeowner. The listing agent is not there. It's just the homeowner. It's me and Mike, who's my buyer agent, right? Trying to find me a house. And we start talking to the homeowner. Long story short, she tells us that her property is going to auction in 3 weeks.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, what is your listing agent doing about this?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, he doesn't even know, mind you, they had the listing for 6 months. But the property's going to auction in 3 weeks. So I immediately sat down with her. We called her bank right there on the spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bank that I know very, very well. So we called the bank on the spot, and I basically was able to get her into a forbearance plan. Which
Mm-hmm.
basically, what you for if anyone doesn't know, a forbearance is basically the bank pausing the payments for a certain amount of time, giving the homeowner to some time to really get her finances in order, and then
Mm-hmm.
the full payment comes due once the forbearance plan is over. So we were
Mm-hmm.
able to get her into a forbearance plan, and that triggered the cancellation of the auction. And then immediately she was relieved, happy. She then fired the realtor, obviously, hired us to finish the transaction and work with her. The bank
Mm-hmm.
gave her about 8 months in forbearance, so she was ecstatic, super happy. 80-year-old woman, because she was very worried on where she was going to live.
Mm-hmm.
About a week and a half later, she died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she died. And it was crazy because it was just right around the same time that my mother passed away too, about a year
Mm-hmm.
ago. So it was just surreal moment for me. But after I thought about it, I said to myself, well, this lady died in peace because she was very stressed that she was going to
Mm-hmm.
lose her home. And then we connected, and I finally gave her that peace to really let her know that she's not going to lose a home, but she was finally happy again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she wound up dying. So at least I knew she died in peace in a way. So crazy, crazy story. And now, 6 months later, we're still pursuing this deal, because now it's a probate situation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very close, to speaking with her children. They actually
Mm-hmm.
do live in Texas. So it's been kind of a challenge because, if we're shifted into probate, you have to really just find someone that's going to be the administrator of the person's estate and then go from
Mm-hmm.
there. So it's very rewarding, again, back to your question, and fulfilling to know that before this little old lady passed away, she was at least happy. I was able to provide her some happiness, even though
Mm-hmm.
there's probably a small chance, 50-50 chance that we'll even get this deal or not. But it doesn't matter because I still got pleasure, and it was a big reward to at least give this lady some happiness before she passed. So
So I feel like you just genuinely want and like to help people, and you should get rewarded by doing that, right? Like it's just the nature of your business.
correct.
And the more focused and the more people you can help, and bring them the result that they want, then your business just exploding.
100%.
And then you go to build another business.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're just, by helping people, the more people you help, the more help. What is Zig Ziglar's quote? It's the more help. What's the quote exactly? I want to just make sure I'm saying it. It's Zig Ziglar, right? Or is Jim Rowe? Help. The more people you help, the more people you help get what they want, the more you'll get in return. Help the person get what they want first.
Mm,
And that's really just, you're providing value to people, and you're going to be rewarded for that.
yeah, that's really awesome. Um, cool. So that is the pleasure. And what is the pain here?
Oh, the pain is, I mean, where do I start? I mean, there's a lot of risk involved. There's, sleepless nights, when you're hearing horror stories from these people. So you have to deal with all the emotional baggage that they bring to you, and they can
Mm-hmm.
really impact your everyday life because, you're constantly, it's almost like a nurse or a doctor in a hospital. They're seeing people die every day, right? On the operating table. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing all the horror stories that these people go through, that I try not to, but you think about that stuff. You feel bad for some of these people. You're on the phone with these people all day. And we had multiple situations where the homeowners were alive in the beginning of the transaction, and then
Mhm.
they wound up dying in the middle of it, you know, and then it goes from a foreclosure short sale into a probate. And when you build the relationship with this seller and to know that she died, I mean, it's a lot of pain. So
Mhm.
I try now, now I'm trying hard not to really get as personal with homeowners and really just try to really just keep it strictly business. But
Mhm.
I guess my personality sometimes takes over that, and I can't really help that, but working on it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is kind of like secondary suffering. So when you see other people suffer, you kind of have like suffer as well, right?
Yeah,
Like,
in essence, that makes sense. Yes.
yeah, in a sense, you're kind of like a lot like a therapist as well, right?
Yeah, I've been called that before. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Um, cool. So what is the current focus on your business right now? What do you
So
want to focus on?
the current focus, especially with distressed real estate, we're trying to tap into commercial. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically we've been doing residential distress short sales, single families, up until 2-3 units. But really, what my goal is to really tap into commercial buildings, apartment buildings. You know, it's the same process, same paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
just more zeros and bigger
Mm-hmm.
checks. And you're dealing with a different type of clientele, different
Mm-hmm.
distressed seller. You know, a lot of these we've done short sales on. I've had a $7 million property, and it's just a different seller where these types of people just their business has failed, and this is the reason why they're going through this hardship. They're more
Mm-hmm.
sophisticated sellers, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a different conversation. So we're in addition to commercial, we're also trying to tap into getting properties directly from the banks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother process that we're still
Mm-hmm.
going through and learning, because you really got to build a relationship with asset managers,
Mm-hmm.
um, and really have the resources to take down some of these big deals that these banks are desperately looking to get off their books.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, that kind of like align with me since I go to commercial right now and learn the process of how to buy an apartment complex and all that. And I just came back from a conference where I learned about different people do different things, right? And there's one that like coming from that space where you trying to get to, and they buy distress like second note or like like first note foreclose on could be, I don't know, a farm even like in the middle of nowhere, or um like a factory or whatever, right? But it's just like a bank note that some banks want to get rid of, and and you have to track down this this owner and find them, try to figure out the situation, make a connection, and do everything that you do, but the reward is kind of bigger,
Yeah, it's a
you
lot.
know.
It's a lot easier. I think it's just numbers to the banks versus the emotion when you're dealing with sellers, distressed sellers. So
Mhm,
we're really we're shifting focus definitely going into next year, and really
mhm,
preparing to really just build better relationships with the right people at the banks. Because it's not a big secret. The market is crashing, the economy is crashing, foreclosures are up, defaults are up, commercial real estate is just you know,
same, yeah.
it's taking a big hit, and banks need money right now. They need money. So if you have the connection to that asset manager who has control, who really needs help, getting rid of these properties, right, for their own reasons.
Mhm.
So that's definitely a goal of ours, and I think that's the next level for us. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's
And then I
awesome
could,
because
think about I could wholesale you 100 unit, right? You can, I could short sale 100 unit, and then you could be a buyer of it, right? I mean, you're gonna
yeah,
really wind
totally.
up. I'm sure you'll wind up running into big deals, commercial deals, right? That are
Yep.
distressed underwater, right?
Yeah.
These properties are underwater, so
So in commercial, what I'm trying to go right now is uh, to be the fund that coming in and kind of like these opportunistic, you know, thing that you can do because you're right there at the right time, right? And you have money, basically. So what I'm trying to do right now is like I be the money part of it. And a lot of bank won't lend you to buy this. So you need somebody to back you up, or you even need a fund to back you up. So like this guy I met during this conference, during COVID, they established a fund on April of 2020, where March is declared as COVID, everything shut down, everything. And they just raise a fund. They raise a fund and then they buy like 10 restaurants, 10 nice sushi restaurants, look like Nobu everywhere in big city. They bought it for $2 million. And right before COVID, that was evaluated at $40 million.
And they bought it for 2 million.
They bought it for 2.
Wow.
And of course, like, you know, like the whole COVID and everything, but now they all up and running and they value $40 million again, right?
That's amazing.
So the same with other things. So those are the opportunity that, you know, if you're not prepared for it, and you don't know how to negotiate, even you have money, you don't know how to negotiate, and you won't get a deal done. So
100%.
yeah. So
I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing because your fund is really going to provide a lot of value to people that really need the money, right? Because as soon as, you know, the banks are going to start tightening up lending, interest rates are, I think today, closer to 9%, and lending is, you know, is going to start being tightened. And if you have access and relationships with Sophie, who has a fund, I mean, you just need to really go out there and find the deal. A lot of people, I think, are scared to go out there because they think they don't have any money, but they don't really understand that, you know, you don't really need money. I mean, having a deal is worth so much more, right?
Yeah, having a deal and have relationships.
Yeah.
And the reverse, right? Like for me, like if I can gather people who believe in the same mission, pull money together, then I'll be able to choose the best deal that I can invest in.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we talk more about that. But so what is the knowledge that you're gonna tell Willie 5 years ago, like 1 year in the business of wholesaling?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I would definitely what I've learned, I think, that I would tell him 5 years ago is there's going to be a lot of situations that is going to test your emotions, and you really need to be more patient in getting emotional with situations and opportunities, and don't really care if you lose a deal or you get screwed by someone, right? Don't think you're going to do this business and someone's not going to screw you. But it's all about how you react to the situation. And if my younger 5 years ago, I could tell him, just keep going. Don't waste time getting emotional, because there's abundance of opportunities. And, you know, if you allow yourself to get emotional, you become frozen and you waste time. So I probably let myself know that don't be a little bee, and keep moving, keep moving, and you'll help a lot more people and you'll make a lot more money.
That's awesome.
That's a good question.
So that's keep moving, forward.
Keep moving, just keep pushing. Don't accept no for an answer, and really just, solve the problem. There's a problem here, you have to solve it. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's an awesome advice. But
yeah, that's a great question.
And anyone have any questions? I'll give like 10 minutes to all of you to ask the question to Willie.
Don't be shy.
Can I unmute? I unmuted myself. Is that okay?
Sure, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
please.
You know what, Willie, you're talking about a situation that I went through like last week. We had a gentleman, and I was just going to ask you about subject to properties and stuff like that. Don't you think it's better to get it from the owner? Like I'm just because you have to remember I'm Canadian, so it's a little bit different. I don't get the whole subject to part. I'm understanding it right now, like slowly learning. But don't you find it better to get it from the owner instead of like the banks?
On a subject to, or are you talking about just a regular deal in general?
No, like I mean, well, the subject to what we did was we offered him 30K to walk away. Sorry, 20K. This was 20K. We have another deal on the go right now for 30K. So we offered him 20K to walk away. He had 100. What was his mortgage? 100 with the reinstatement fees and everything were $178,000. So we said will pay for that. We'll take over the mortgage, right? But he kept saying that he had 3 other leads, and was saying, look, ours was on paper, everybody else that was verbal. And I said, so I said to him, I said, look, you have verbal from everybody else. We have it on paper. So let's sign up. And then he waited till the last second. And when you said 48 hours before the auction, this guy was like talking to us 5 minutes before the auction started. It was at 2:00 in the afternoon. It's a Jersey deal too, which is weird because when you said Jersey, I was like, okay, perfect. And we were talking to the guy right till 5 minutes up to the auction. He goes like, there's nothing else I can do. I go, brother, you waited too long. And I try to make him understand. Go, listen, you said you had 3 other deals on the table. He goes, well, I didn't take them. I said, well, what do you want us to do right now? We can't wire money in 2 seconds over to we had no idea what to do. We didn't know if we can even stop it. Or so right now the bank took it back for $100. It shows on the website.
Yeah. So
But
just so you know, in New Jersey, there's a redemption period, so you can
yeah,
actually have 10 days to
yeah,
actually redeem the property. And we've been in situations where in other states, Massachusetts, where even when the bank foreclosed or they sold it to a third party, typically they tell you have 30 days to close on it. The success for a bidder, the person that won the bid.
yeah,
But if that person didn't close on the property for whatever reason, and it's still open, there's times where we've connected with the bank, with the homeowner on the phone, and we redeemed the property and cut a deal directly with the bank, even after it was foreclosed on, all because the bidder never actually closed on it. So, I mean, for you in that situation, it might just be your communication with the homeowner. Maybe he didn't understand how you can help him. You have to kind of and a lot of these times, like I said, they're not doing the legwork. You have to do it for them. Like we have our realtors going to the hospital, getting the paperwork, and then bringing it back, and then we're going to go to the court and do it, file it on behalf of the homeowner. So you have to really be the person that's going to do the legwork, and just by that time, you have to, maybe you could have just explained it better in your rapport with him, but sometimes homeowners are they're done, right? They're done. I want to move on. And then you got to keep it moving.
Gotcha. Because we thought, like we said, he kept throwing it in our face where he goes, he has better offers, but he said that all they were was verbals. And I said, well, if you have a better offer, then take it. But then he calls us back the night before the auction and like, okay, let's work on the offer. I go, brother, we can't wire money that fast, right? So I know he's got a 10-day redemption period right now to get the house back, but then you have to pay the whole amount, right?
Yeah, I mean, typically at that point they want the full amount,
Yeah.
but again, it's all about buying time. And I mean, before the property, your situation, if you would have, he connected you the day of the auction.
Oh, the night, bro, we were going the night of and the day of the auction.
So I would have I mean, if he really wanted to avoid foreclosure, we would have had him file a bankruptcy and cancel the auction right there the same day. And then you would at least had the time to go back to him and the bank and really talk more in depth about the solution.
Yeah.
You like everything is off the table and the focus is just how do we cancel this auction? Let's get this auction canceled and buy some more time. And then we can really go into all the nitties and gritties. So he's talking about wiring money. He needs money, but you should have maybe told him, hey, let's cancel the auction. You can file bankruptcy. We'll get that filed for you. The auction will get canceled right away because you're not going to have enough time to call the bank, call the foreclosing attorney, and the strategies that we use on the same day. At that point, same day, bankruptcy or foreclosure.
We try to even get a TRO against the mortgage company. I heard that was another trick that you can do too.
TRO,
Temporary restraining order. Yeah.
Restraining order. Yeah, you can do that as well. There's many strategies that we use. It's all about how much time do you have to really fulfill that solution. You know, are you going to get in front of a judge that fast the same day?
That's true. Yeah,
And
that's another one.
typically
Yeah.
5 minutes, an hour before the bankruptcy, the auction, bankruptcy is going to be your best solution because you just go there, file it, and you don't really need to wait on anybody else to do their job. You know, it takes hours for a foreclosing attorney to pick up the phone, let alone respond to you. So with the bankruptcy, at least you have leverage on getting the auction stayed. So that's going to really be your best solution on the same day or 2 days before if you've exhausted all of those other options.
Okay. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I love this case on live right now. That's really so. There's somebody asked. Okay, Mr. iPhone. He asked, "Do you have mentorship program for beginner?"
So I don't really have a beginner mentorship program. The best way I say is, if you bring a deal, bring a lead. I typically want you in the deal with me, and that's going to really be your best mentorship program because you're going to be doing certain tasks, real tasks, right? I'm going to give you tasks to do, and that's actually what you need to do, and you're going to learn a lot while you're in the deal. So yeah, I would say just if you want to learn something, bring some value, bring a deal, and the value I'll give you back is by the end of that transaction, you'll know a lot more about short sales, foreclosures, and really how to get the deal to the closing table. There's a lot of moving parts, and if you're not in the deal, doing all these moving parts and communicating with everyone, you're never going to really know. And if you do one deal with me, you'll learn. You won't even need to really do another deal because you'll know how to do it all by yourself. The question is, are you going to put as much work and effort and be persistent to actually, get it done? That's on you, right? But yeah, bring a deal, connect with me, and I'll definitely answer any questions and guide you, at least point you in the right direction.
Yep. And do they get paid as well if you end up close the deal, and do you split profit or something?
Yeah. So the way we work is any deal that comes in, we pay out a $5,000 referral fee. We also give the option to the person, whether it's a wholesaler or an investor, to be the buyer. We don't allow wholesalers to wholesale our short sales. It's just, we tried that in the beginning. We have special paperwork that allows us to do this legally. So if it's a wholesaler or an investor that wants to be the buyer, we're going to negotiate the deal for you and get you a great price to actually purchase it and close on the property. And we charge you a flat fee of $15,000. So, and typically you won't even feel our fee because you're getting such a great deal. So our fee is kind of built into that number. So you have two options. You can bring a deal, get a referral fee. We'll do all the work. You'll get paid $5,000 at closing, or I can give you the option of if you want to buy the deal and we can get you your number, you could be the buyer. So it's up to you.
That's awesome. Minche asked, how do we bring a deal?
Yeah, great question. You got to go out there and really, you got to find it, right? Finding deals is probably the hardest thing in this business. You have to really cold call, door knock. You have to do whatever it takes to get a deal. And typically, all you got to really do is just, you can actually go to the auctions and get an auction list and see what properties are going to foreclosure in the next 2 weeks. You knock on the homeowner's door, you call the homeowner and say, hey, I have a solution for you. I'm going to call my buddy Willie up and he's going to explain everything to you. And boom, you just brought a lead. As long as the homeowner is cooperative, that's the lead right there. Very easy. You just got to go out there and really get it.
That's awesome. So Mr. iPhone said that he will contact you.
Absolutely.
So Tony.
Yeah.
So you also do do you specialize in also foreclosure and short sales?
No, Sophie, what happened? So what happened is I contacted a friend. Sorry, I got in contact with a friend of mine. Well, actually, just a friend of mine now, but he was on a Facebook page. We're all on a Facebook page, and he was like, "Oh, I need an investor for a deal." And I said, "Okay, let me." I reached out to him, and he was telling me what he was doing. And then he was going. So he's going on the New Jersey. I don't remember Sussex. I think it's called Sussex Sheriff Sales or something like that. Anyway,
Sales web. Sales
sorry?
web. Sales web. You can go
No,
on
no, no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, bro.
You can go on Sales Web and it'll bring up every county's auction list.
Oh, what's it called? Sales Web?
Sales Web.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
Let me
Yeah,
put it in
so Sophie, yeah, can you put in the chat?
I guess.
Mhm.
Thanks, bro. So what happened, Sophie? So he wanted an investor. So we reached out. I talked to him, and he said, "Look, Tony, I have deals. I can get deals, but I need an investor." So then he taught me about the auctions, and auctions over here are different than over where you guys are because we don't lose our equity, right? So when he told me that when people lose their equity at the auction, I was like, "Whoa, hang on a second, that's a lot of money." So the deal we had on the table with this gentleman was $178,000 for the mortgage and the reinstatement fees, and then we were going to give him $20,000 to walk away. And the property was worth about 375 fixed up. So we were going to put about 50,000 in renovations and fix it up. And he knew that, and he goes, "No, I know you guys are going to make money on it." And he was fine with it. He was fine with 20,000 and walking away. But see, over here, when you lose your house, the banks have to give you back the rest of the equity for wherever they have to sell it for fair market value. So when they sell it for fair market value, they have to give you the rest of the money back, even though it might not be a lot, but still you're going to get your equity back. As in we're in the States, you lose it. So it's kind of weird. It's a little bit different for us over here.
Wow. That's cool. So there's people ask, do you also bid in auction or only try to get them before the auction?
So I haven't done anything with going to the auctions. What I am doing now, what I've done this year is I flipped a home in a 55 and older community, and I built a great relationship with the HOA, the board of the HOA. So I was able to provide a solution to the HOA because, typically when a homeowner is not paying their bills, their mortgage, they're not paying their HOA dues either. So the HOA is actually the first person to find out this person is in default versus the typical wholesaler going to buy a list. So the HOA actually sold me. I was able to negotiate and purchase their HOA lien, and so they were owed about $20,000. They sold it to me for $10,000. And what I do is I basically take that lien and then I foreclose on the property. I foreclose on the property, and then the sheriff will award me with a sheriff's deed. With that deed, I'm able to actually call the mortgage company up, and now I'm in the same shoes. I own a lien position on the property. So they're willing, and I own the house now with that sheriff's deed. So I'm actually able to communicate with the bank, where typically you'll need the homeowner to communicate with the bank. You'll need a third-party authorization. What the sheriff's deed allows us to do is connect with the bank and actually work with the mortgage company to satisfy whatever debt is on the property. And typically it's a short sale situation. So, but I have never, I'm not saying never, but I don't really mess around with the auctions at this time. I just find that I'd rather get the property before it goes to auction. So that's typically where we're focusing on.
So that's amazing, because so there's other way for people to break deals is to call up this HOA, right? And
Yeah.
hey, HOA, do you have anyone default on, your HOA lien? And they don't want to go out there and foreclose and do all this work, and you'll be like, okay, I buy your lien, right?
So yeah, typically, I mean, the conversation needs to be a little bit, delicate. And what I found is, I'm in 55 and older communities where I found a great niche, because typically in these 55 and older communities, the HOA, I love old people, right? I connect with them great. They're a little older, right? And they're more inclined to speak to people that is willing to help them out of a jam, right? They're owed thousands of dollars because they haven't received a payment from the homeowner, whether because he died or they're just not paying. they're a lot easier to work with than younger people of the HOA board. And there's typically around 2,000 homes in each 55 and older community on average.
Hopefully.
So you can literally connect with the board and build a relationship with the HOA. And whenever someone misses a payment, depending on your relationship with that board, they're going to call you up and say, hey, Willie, we have a property that hasn't paid us. Can you look into it for us? And that's exactly what we did. And that's what we're continuing to do with them and grow that relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a different avenue opposed to pulling a list, getting the data, and really, going the traditional route, which everyone is doing, right? So you got to really try to get creative and find other avenues where you're going to be able to get leads from. So
that's really smart. And then that's like unique. I never heard of that before.
yeah,
But that's awesome.
relationships is everything, right?
Yeah,
So,
in this business. And Andy asked, is it legal to knock on the doors of the foreclosure property?
I mean, I'm not an attorney, but unless I guess the house has no trespassing signs, no soliciting, I don't see I wouldn't really think about if it's legal or not. You're not going there to like rob them, right? You're going there to help them. So, and I don't think might be the wrong mindset to think, even if it is illegal, are you going to really, the risk versus reward, you got to really make a decision. If I knock on this door, they're going to call the police. Is it good? I don't really know. I mean, is it, are you going to get yourself into a situation where you're going to go to jail for knocking on someone's door that you're trying to help? Possibly, but 9 times out of 10, they're either going to slam the door in your face or they're going to open it and they're going to listen to you, and you're going to really get you're going to be able to provide a solution for that homeowner, especially if you just connect with them with providing that the value. So
Can I throw 2 cents in there? We use PropStream to get a hold of their phone number. I'd rather call them instead of knocking on the door, to be honest. Or text them.
Yeah, I mean, the knocking on doors is probably I think that's the best strategy in my opinion. You're going to the house, and if you can get yourself in that door, I mean, I've been in hundreds of houses, living rooms, and sat with homeowners for hours just hearing their story and their situation and how they got themselves into the situation. And door knocking is provided that for me. So, but cold calling is good too. It's all about what you're looking to do.
So Willie, you say that you hire employee right now, right? And try to like train them so they do this call for you, and you're operating in how many states now?
I'm in 9 states right now.
9 states right now, and all in the Northeast, or is it also in Texas? I remember you text me about a few Texas property too.
Yeah, we had a couple properties. So my processor lives in Austin, so he's constantly bringing deals as well. So we have a bunch of properties that we're negotiating Texas right now. But typically what I do is when I enter a new state, I connect with a local agent and we partner up together, and we rely on them to connect us with attorneys, title companies, just to get familiar with the laws. Every state is different, has different laws. So we try to educate ourselves on every time we enter a new market. And a real estate agent is our first line, and we need to list these properties. So we're partnered up with agents nationwide.
That's awesome. Guys, if you want to partner with Willie, bring him a deal, talk to him, learn from him, or you're a realtor, then connect to him. He might open in your state, and you guys can work on how to stop foreclose and help these people. Mr. iPhone asks again, do you recommend any company providing correct contact information about homeowner?
Yeah, so if you connect with, his name is Josh Chan on social media. This guy is just a data king. He's providing data nationwide to the top wholesalers that are, doing 6-figure months. He is just a great guy. I mean, he is just a data king, and his lists are amazing. Like I said, I don't really do any marketing. Most of my business is referrals, but I've pulled his list many times in the past. I know a lot of people, a lot of friends in the business that make a lot of money from his list. So his name is Josh Chan. He's on social media, Instagram, Facebook. He's in North Carolina. So great guy.
So Andy Tran asked, okay, he's in Austin. He should add you as a friend on Facebook. Can you please accept him?
Let me actually, it's Kind Skip Tracing. Let me just confirm. Kind Skip Tracing is his company.
Yeah, you can.
I'll put it
just
in the
type
chat.
that. Yeah,
I'll
that's
put it
awesome.
in the chat. Yep. Let's see. Yeah.
I saw some late people here. Adelina,
Hey there.
hey, you in Austin too, right? And
Yes.
yeah, you guys kind of late, but you can watch the recording. I hope.
Oh, good to know.
Any question for Willie? Any question, Nico? Any question, Ebenezer? You guys join late, maybe mistake the time or something.
Yes.
Don't be shy, guys. Ebony actually just brought us a deal too, so he's gonna actually we're gonna be working together very soon. Excited about.
Oh,
He's
Ebenezer. Oh, that's
he's a
awesome.
realtor out of South Jersey, so excited to be working with him. Great guy, and that's just really how the relationship forms, right? You connect with someone, you don't really understand how to do something. You got to talk to people. You got to connect with people, and if people are good and they are, you'll keep the relationship and you'll do more than one deal. No one wants to just do one deal. We're in the business to doing hundreds, right? So
That's awesome. Mhm.
but connect. Your network is your net worth. So
Awesome.
pretty
Nico,
cool.
do you have any question for Willie?
No, I work with Willie. I'm actually in Richmond, Virginia. So we go way back. And I was in real estate in New York and kind of moved out here. So now we're just looking for properties and opportunity out here. In the same company.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, glad you guys able to make it. So Willie, one last word for everyone.
One last word, guys. Just really, if you're out there doing this business, just provide value to people. Work hard. Don't accept no for an answer, and just keep going. Just keep going. Trust yourself and your ability to really get things done, and just keep networking and keep providing value.
Amazing. Keep providing values, guys. So that's it. I thank you so much, Willie, for so much information, and it's so good. All this information that you gave, like I can't find anywhere. No one find anywhere. And I'm glad like all the participants in our Zoom call or Facebook Live enjoy this talk. And thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Take care,
Signing
guys.
off.
Thank you so much.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bye
bud.
bye, guys.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.